This is National Native News. I'm Antonia Gonzalez. First Nations leaders and government officials in Canada announced plans Friday to move forward on child welfare legislation. It aims to give First Nations, Métis, and Inuit communities more control over the care of their children. In a press conference streamed by the CBC, Indigenous Services Minister Jane Philpott says this is one step in supporting Indigenous families.
This is part of the building blocks, as it were, in that going forward to see strong, healthy, self-reliant First Nations, Inuit governments, Métis governments is ultimately what Canada has been missing. But that will not come about until we acknowledge the great needs to heal families, to rebuild those strong bonds of family, to make sure that children are not ripped away from their language, their culture, their land, and their lineage. And so this is a critical step to supporting families.
Inuit leader Natin Obed says there needs to be provisions to acknowledge past challenges and change the way services have negatively impacted people.
We are hopeful that there will be a section that will acknowledge history, acknowledge the really challenging things such as the residential school period, the lack of self-determination that Indigenous peoples have had over time and all of its permutations. Hopefully there will be provisions around the rights of Indigenous children and how those rights in specific provisions in the Act can have remedy and redress for any violations to those children's rights. There also, hopefully, will be provisions around the self-determination space for First Nations, Inuit, and Métis governance.
Indigenous groups have been co-developing the legislation. Native leaders in support of it hope to have it in the books before Canada's federal election in October 2019. Monument Valley Tribal Park, which spans Utah and Arizona, well known for its mesas and buttes, often seen in photos and movies, closed Thursday. The Navajo Nation's Parks Department authorized the closure. The Navajo Times reports the park was shut down to the public after the group Global Witness was filming without a permit. 50 people reportedly protested the closure. In a YouTube video posted by the group, people joked about the incident, saying they're not a cult and they're there to see what secrets of the past the monuments and people hold. Local Navajo leaders in the area are concerned about the health and safety of the public. The park is on Navajo land and managed by the tribe. It's closed until further notice. Minnesota's governor-elect Tim Walz plans to visit the Red Lake Indian Reservation on Sunday and hold a community listening session. Lieutenant Governor-elect Peggy Flanagan is a citizen of the White Earth Nation. They both have been outspoken about Native American issues, veterans care, education, and health. The event will take place at the Red Lake Nation College. The transition team has started a statewide tour to meet with communities and discuss what priorities to tackle in the next year. The tour is also reportedly seeking members for the administration. The Fort Peck tribes in Montana will not accept a group of bison from Yellowstone National Park. The Billings Gazette reports an attorney for the tribe says there are too many burdensome conditions by the federal government. One concern is disease. The tribe wants more control over disease testing. Relocation efforts are trying to be made to prevent buffalo from being slaughtered. I'm Antonia Gonzalez.
National Native News is produced at the Annenberg National Native Voice Studios by Kawanak Broadcast Corporation. Funding is by Odawi Law Group, provider of Indian law solutions, and by the Corporation for Public Broadcasting, with support from the Public Radio Satellite System.
From northern Minnesota, Red Lake Nation Foods is pleased to support this show and share the bounty of the harvests, wild rice products, and wild fruit jams, jellies, and syrups produced by American Indians and available at redlakenationfoods.com. Support for law and justice-related programming provided by Hobbs, Strauss, Dean & Walker, LLP, a national law firm dedicated to promoting and defending tribal rights for more than 30 years. More information available at hobbsstrauss.com.
Native Voice One, the Native American Radio Network.